Having thought that her empty apartment meant Junghyuk and the teammates had returned to North Korea, Seri bursts into tears when she realizes they were actually throwing her a surprise birthday party. Overcome with emotion, she runs outside, and Junghyuk follows her. Seeing that she's embarrassed, he gently gives her a back hug and softly says that this day will always be special to him, because it's the day he's grateful the person he loves is alive. Junghyuk gently asks Seri if she'll cry like that when he really does leave, but Seri quickly says she won't. She tells him he should go home soon, worried that if he stays in South Korea too long, returning might become impossible. She reassures him that she has the means to protect herself from Chul Kang or anyone else. Inside, the teammates are shaken after seeing Seri cry for the first time. Manbok quietly brings up the time she missed her flight, and the others stare at him in disbelief. Jisoo exclaims, "Just how much were you listening to us?" Manbok heads downstairs to call Junghyuk and Seri back inside, but as he steps out, a strange feeling washes over him. He senses something off, something dangerous, though he doesn't see Chul Kang silently driving away into the night. Back upstairs, Seri tells the teammates she was just surprised, brushing off her tears. She accidentally complains about the old-fashioned cake, and everyone turns to look at Junghyuk. His proud expression falters just a little, but the moment quickly shifts as they light the candles and sing the North Korean version of Happy Birthday. Seri smiles and teaches them how to make a wish, and they all blow out the candles together, a quiet, sweet moment of connection. Later that night, Junghyuk visits Seri's room with a small gift. He's adorably shy about it, repeating that it's nothing special, though his nervousness says otherwise. Finally, Seri grabs his hand and gently pries it open, revealing a gold ring. It's too big, so she slips it onto her thumb with a laugh. But Junghyuk stops her, saying that one is his, and then hands her a smaller one. It's couple rings. He carefully puts the ring on her finger, and Seri teases him, saying that for someone who's never dated, he's surprisingly good at making a woman's heart flutter. Then she slides his ring onto his finger and softly says she'll always remember him. Meanwhile, up north, Dan's mother pays a visit to the village and runs into Wol Suk and Okjum. Wol Suk mentions seeing a strange man entering the apartment meant for Dan and Junghyuk. Luckily, Dan's mother came prepared, handing out gifts for them to be quiet. She claims the man is her nephew, Alberto, recently back from Europe, but the village women exchange a knowing glance. It's clearly a lie, and they're not buying it for a second. Dan's mom heads up to the apartment and runs into Seung-jun, who immediately turns on the charm full force. He explains that Dan got drunk and that he was just about to bring her some hangover soup, then kneels with dramatic politeness to apologize for Dan's behavior. Mom barely manages to drag herself away from Seung-jun's smooth talk and heads to the bedroom to smack Dan awake. Seung-jun pokes his head in to invite Mom to dinner, and she immediately recognizes the side dishes, the same ones Dan had stolen from her own fridge. Suspicious, Mom asks Seung-jun what exactly his relationship is with Dan. He answers honestly, "I have a crush on Dan. I know she's engaged to another man." Her mother asks why he likes her, and he earnestly lists her discipline, sternness, and noble elegance. Mom gives him a suspicious stink eye, clearly unconvinced by his smooth delivery, but later in private, she tells Dan that she actually likes him. Dan insists that there's nothing between them, and says she still intends to marry Junghyuk when he returns from the demilitarized zone, unaware that he's already in Seoul. Back in Seoul, Jung-hyuk tracks down Chul Kang's lackey, manager Oh. He grabs him with a painful neckpinch as punishment for arranging a meeting and then sending thugs to attack him. Manager Oh admits that he isn't loyal to the people he works with, and Jung-hyuk replies coldly that he doesn't need loyalty, just the truth. Meanwhile, Seri asks Manbok about their scheduled return with the World Military Games athletes in a few days. Manbok confirms that Jung-hyuk's father took a big risk setting it up and that Jung-hyuk won't be safe if he misses the bus. Seri insists that Jung-hyuk has to go back no matter what. Wanting to give the teammates a gift, Seri gives them her black credit card and tells them to go buy themselves some stylish clothes and anything else they want. They're thrown off by things like pre-torn jeans, until Kwangbum tries them on and looks fantastic, and Yoondong falls in love with a reindeer hat with flappy ears. Sangha has been snooping around collecting information on Seri, and she calls another meeting with the board of Seri's choice. She wants to vote again regarding becoming the new CEO, this time basing it on whether Seri is suitable to run the company. She's ready to spill all the details about Seri's disappearance, but before she gets started, Seri's stepmother shows up. In private, Sangha claims that she's only trying to make Sehyung successful, but stepmom snaps that she's not about to sacrifice one child for another. She says that she and Chairman know where Seri was, as well as the fact that Sehyung and Sangha tried to stop her from returning home, and she tells Sangha to bring Sehyung home from Hong Kong and come see them immediately. While Seri is at work and Jung-hyuk is pretending to be her bodyguard, Secretary Hong shows Seri a late-night drunken plea to get back together that her ex-boyfriend posted online. He mentions several other guys she's dated also, shooting nervous looks at Jung-hyuk. Seri scolds her assistants to get back to work. Once they're alone, Seri claims that those men were just passing through her life, and Jung-hyuk sulks at her to tell him if he's one of those passing through guys. Seri teases him that he took too long to find her, and that it was difficult dating so many men without finding the one. Since they're together now, they decide to take a day off from work and go to the movies, where they seize the chance to hold hands by using the movable armrest. They go for a drive and take a walk on a suspension bridge, and Jung-hyuk recalls another time when he skipped class. He tells her how he skipped class to take photographs and saw a woman who was completely his type, standing on the edge of a high bridge, about to jump. Seri pouts playfully at the "my type" comment, but soon realizes he's describing her. Jung-hyuk continues, sharing that he has thought about her often since that day and then shows Seri the recorder he found in her desk. With a sense of wonder in her voice, Seri asks how many times their paths must have crossed without them knowing. She reflects that if it's true one's happiest moments are the last thoughts before passing, then this moment will be hers. The teammates finally get to eat at the crowded fried chicken restaurant, where everyone's eyes are glued to a soccer game on the big screen. Jisoo and Manbok pretend they don't care about the match, but their expressions change when they learn it's Korea versus Japan. By the time Jung-hyuk and Seri join them, they're jumping up and down, cheering loudly every time Korea scores a goal. After the game, Manbok steps outside for a cigarette and, to his horror, finds himself face to face with Chul Kang. Chul Kang says he was furious when he discovered Manbok had betrayed him and coldly asks if Manbok truly believes director Ri will protect him once he finds out that Manbok killed Mohyuk. He reminds Manbok that he's the one who has been supporting his family and even freed his mother from prison. Manbok pleads with Chulkang to turn a blind eye and let him make amends for what he did to Muhyuk, but Chulkang coldly forces him to choose Muhyuk or Wupil, his own son. That night, Junghyuk and Yoondong share one of Seri's guest bedrooms. Yoondong talks excitedly about visiting the PC cafe and playing video games for the first time, and Junghyuk listens with a gentle, indulgent smile, until Yoondong mentions his fight with Tomato Cultivator. Feeling angry because he was the one who didn't show up for the fight, Junghyuk abruptly storms out of the room. In the kitchen, he runs into Manbok, who is quietly crying from worry. Manbok goes still when Junghyuk softly apologizes for causing the separation from his family. Without a word, Manbok quietly shuffles out of the room. The village women visit Younghae once again. Myeongsuk reveals that she heard from Manbok's wiretapper friends that Younghae's husband was arrested because Chulkang was digging for dirt on Director Ri. With Junghyuk gone, they have no way to reach Director Ri to plead for leniency for the senior colonel, until Wolsuk suddenly remembers that Dan's so-called cousin is actually right here in the village. The group heads to the apartment together, running into Dan on the way. They let themselves inside just as Seungjoon steps out of the shower, and everyone can't help but stare at his bare chest while he tries to act casual and nonchalant. While Seungjoon got dressed, Dan quickly asked the ladies what they needed. Younghae shyly asked Dan to say something good about her husband to Director Ri. Dan snapped back, saying she doesn't handle personal favors. Seungjoon comes over and smiles. He informs the ladies that Dan actually is a kind heart beneath her sharp words. He promised to talk to his aunt about Younghae's request. One of the ladies mentioned she'd seen Seungjoon leaving Junghyuk's house not long ago. Dan quickly brushed it off with an excuse. But later, she caught Seungjoon alone and asked him, her voice sharp with anger, why he had been there. Seungjoon took a deep breath. He decided to be honest with Dan. He explained that Chulkang had followed Seri to South Korea, and Junghyuk was in Seoul trying to protect Seri and catch Chulkang. Dan's eyes filled with tears. Seeing this, Seungjoon reached out to comfort her, but she pushed his hand away and walked off silently, leaving him worried. After finishing his research, Colonel Go tells Dan's mother that Seungjoon is who he claims to be. But he also reveals that Director Ri's investigation found Seungjoon was one of the swindlers who had been secretly kept in North Korea. The only good news, Colonel Go says, is that Dan already knows about it, so at least she didn't get fooled by him. Dan's mother yells that this is no good news at all, and, frustrated, she chases Colonel Go around the house. Seri lines up the team and gives everyone skin mask treatments. Then she tells Jomok that she has an important errand for him. She dresses him up, putting a cute hat on him, and sends him off to a restaurant. At the restaurant, Jomok ends up meeting his favorite idol, someone Seri had promised him he'd get to see at the award ceremony. At first, Jomok is too overwhelmed to speak. But when Jiwoo gently asks if there's anything he wants to say, he nervously recites a famous line from her drama, Stairway to Heaven. You said that people who love each other eventually meet, right? No matter how far you go, Jiwoo smiles and finishes the line for him, love returns in the end. Jomok pulls his hat down over his eyes to hide the happy tears streaming down his face. That night, Jomok asks Seri how she tricked him into going on the errand. She laughs and shows him that she had her fingers crossed while saying it was important. Yoondong explains to the others that crossing your fingers means you're lying, but it's okay somehow. Jomok thanks Seri for making his dream come true and says he can now die happy. Seri talks about the awards she gave the team, and Yoon-dong says it feels like they're saying goodbye all over again. Seri agrees, they say goodbye a lot, but it's good to say it while they still can. Then she scolds them for not using her card like she told them to, so she bought them gifts. Junghyuk checks that the team is ready to leave on the scheduled bus, but he says he'll join them later after manager Oh contacts him. Meanwhile, Manbok has apparently given in and sends an audio recording of their conversation to Chulkang. Chulkang calls Manbok and tells him he'll lure Junghyuk away through manager Oh, planning to kidnap Seri while Junghyuk is distracted. Sangha brings Sehyung to see Chairman Yu, who is furious at Sehyung for lying about where Seri is. The chairman tells Sehyung he made him the heir because he thought he was incompetent and would ask for help, but now he's so disappointed he plans to call another shareholders meeting to have him demoted. On her knees, Sangha begs for forgiveness. She shows Chairman Yu photos of Seri and Seungjun together in Pyongyang. She suggests that Seri was working with Seungjun to con Sehyung, as revenge for Chairman Yu forcing a takeover of Seungjun's father's company years ago. Chairman Yu says he'll investigate, warning that if Sehyung is lying again, he will lose everything. Sehyung calls Seri and tells her to come to the house. When she agrees, he quietly gives Chulkang a map showing the route Seri usually takes. He coldly says he doesn't care what Chulkang does to her, as long as she never comes near him again. As Seri pulls away from her building, Manbok calls Chulkang to say she's on her way. He adds that he and the others will be leaving soon to catch their bus home. They're already late, and the bus driver is growing nervous. When Seri reaches a certain stretch of road, 3 vans suddenly surround her and force her to stop. Tough men carrying blunt weapons jump out and rush toward her car. Meanwhile, Junghyuk is summoned by manager off to an empty warehouse. There, he finds Chulkang waiting with about 20 hired thugs. Junghyuk declares that as long as Chulkang is in South Korea and Seri is in danger, he has no intention of leaving. The thugs attack, and Junghyuk fights them off with skill, but eventually one lands a heavy blow that doubles him over. Manager Oh, cowardly, slips away during the fight. Outside, he squints to see another car pulling up. 5 figures step out, Seri's teammates, dressed sharply and ready for action. In the flashback, Junghyuk finds Manbok crying alone in the kitchen. He gently asks if there's something Manbok wants to say. Manbok admits that this is the first time anyone has asked him to speak his own mind instead of just repeating what he was told. Taking a deep breath, he decides to be honest. He tells Junghyuk that Chulkang threatened his child, but this time, he's determined to fight back. Later, when Junghyuk talks to the team about leaving, all the teammates have their fingers crossed behind their backs while Manbok openly records their conversation to send to Chulkang. They warn Seri that Sehyung is planning something with Chulkang. So when Sehyung calls Seri to the house, they quickly make a plan. The teammates hide inside Seri's car. When the thugs attack, they jump out and fight fiercely. They seem to enjoy the chance to use their skills again, and even Manbok surprises everyone by leaping onto the last thug's back and knocking him out. Once the fight is over, they continue to the warehouse where Chulkang lured Junghyuk. They're joined by the men Seri hired to track Chulkang, and she sends them inside with a promise of 2 years free rent. Just when things start to look bad for Junghyuk, his squad arrives, bringing enough fighters to match Chulkang's thugs. Chulkang sneers at Manbok, then pulls a gun and fires at him. Junghyuk kicks the gun as Chisu flings Manbok to the ground. Everyone starts fighting, and Junghyuk loses Chulkang in the chaos. He finds Chulkang holding a knife to Manbok's throat, but someone comes at Junghyuk and distracts him for a moment, just long enough for Chulkang to drag Manbok outside. Seri is still in her car and witnesses Chulkang punching and strangling Manbok. Chulkang leaves Manbok lying on the ground and hides behind another car when Junghyuk follows him outside, and Seri watches in horror as Chulkang points a gun at Junghyuk. He pulls the trigger, but Seri drives her car between them, and the bullet shatters her window. Whirling around, Junghyuk sees that Seri is unconscious and he fears the worst. He shoots Chulkang, who survives the shot and staggers behind the car again. Chulkang reaches for the gun he dropped, but someone else gets to it first. Manbok, still alive and sobbing, lifts the gun, aims at Chulkang, and fires. Junghyuk opens Seri's door, and she falls into his arms, bleeding from a gunshot wound. Through her pain, he hears her whisper that when she dies, she'll remember the moment on the bridge as her happiest. As her words fade, his mind floods with memories of her, tying her hair back with his handkerchief, finding her in the crowd by holding up a candle, the soft kiss they shared at the hospital, all the moments that have come to define them. He tries to wake her, but then he notices how much she's bleeding. Frozen with grief, he can't find words. Silent sobs shake his body as snow begins to fall around them. In his heart, he thinks, no, it wasn't enough. I still have more to say. There's something I haven't told you. I love you. I love you, you Seri. Additional scene. Junghyuk tells the teammates he'll catch up with them later at the bus. Chisu speaks for everyone, saying that Junghyuk has more to risk than just his own life, he has them. In this moment, Junghyuk is as important to them as their country. Junghyuk says he can't ask them to risk everything, but Jomok interrupts, saying Seri has become just as precious to them. Kwangbam and Yundong nod firmly, ready to stand by Junghyuk no matter what. With a deep breath, Junghyuk gives his orders, do everything you can to protect Seri. I trust you. Later, the teammates rush outside and find Junghyuk holding Seri's limp body in his arms. They stand there feeling helpless and sad. None of them can lose her, they are ready to do anything for her sake.